Girlfriend 32F coming home late to boyfriend 37M. Unreasonable reaction? Me, 32F, and my boyfriend, 37M, have been dating for 2 years and a half. I would like to just know if how I reacted makes sense. I work a pretty stressful, demanding job. When I'm at work I zone in and don't really think about anything else. To the point that at times I even forget to pee cause of how busy and stressful it is. Today I worked a morning shift 6-4 and I had a meeting scheduled at work at 5:30. I wasn't sure how long it would last but assumed about an hour. So instead of working 6-4 I worked overtime until 5:30 and then went to the meeting. I had told my boyfriend about so-called meeting and said I figured I'd be home by 7 p.m. He said he would make dinner. The meeting ran late and finished at 7. He texted me at 6:45 and I let him know it was running late and apologized via text about 5 times. I even called when I left to say I was on my way home. He didn't answer. I get there about 7:30 and he's cooking in the kitchen and has drank pretty much a whole bottle of wine. I say dinner looks amazing and he started going off on me, saying that everything I say is bullshit cause I didn't get home on time. Saying he can't trust what I say and that I'm not honest, that I just do whatever I want and don't care about family. I say I didn't know how late the meeting would run and that it's only half an hour. At this point I worked over 12 hours and am exhausted and he won't drop it. He shouts and swears. I say I understand why he's upset but if he could see my point of view. He says he doesn't give a shit about my job and that it shouldn't come first. I'm the end because I'm over talking and I feel disrespected. I opt to leave. I still have my own apartment but have mostly been living with him, and have been planning to move in next month. I let him know that if he can't see how the way he treated me was wrong we're done. Am I unreasonable that after a shit day at work I'd hope to be treated nicely and lovingly? I understand I was late but I apologized. You don't control the meeting and you need to pay the bills. You told him in advance you would be late. Then you had a long, tiring day. Instead of sympathy and support you get disrespect. He is not husband material. This is unacceptable. Are you sure he's 37? He's acting 17. My wife would have walked out after dumping the dinner in my lap. Do you find he often works himself up over small things like this? Like he drank nearly a full bottle of wine in what is implied to be 45 minutes because he was sulking you were ultimately, what, half an hour late from a time that was just an estimate anyway. That's a worry. That's a lot of alcohol very fast and putting you in a very precarious situation given how upset he got. Be thankful you saw this before you moved in and had some place to go. Can you imagine how it would have felt if you were stuck there? Be real about that. If I were you I would rethink about moving in with him. Yeah, no, this is absolutely a red flag. You kept him updated and apologized. His reaction is controlling and totally uncalled for. I would at the very least renew your lease but honestly I'd probably drop him and move on. You texted when you left work. What more does he want? Apologized 5 times via text. This isn't the worst of him. This is who he is, and you have way more examples you're not sharing. My 37F husband, 37M, suddenly decides he's poly after 17 years. Need advice? Sorry, long one, I'm trying to process. My 37F husband 37M just decides to suddenly start talking about how no one can give each other 100% of our needs and maybe there's an option to see other people who would make me, and him, happy. Next morning it dawned on me that he's pushing this because he's already found someone so I confront him and he admits he's been talking to someone and it makes him feel good and when he's happy he feels more fulfilled in our relationship. We have kids and have been together 17 years. He's pushing that he has since, within only a week of speaking with this woman, realized he wants a poly lifestyle after talking to someone else and she makes him feel good. Note this person is from another country so I'm aware there's no physical aspect involved. I'm devastated by this. I've always felt insecure about other women. I've spent 2 days crying and he's been like, sorry you're my best friend and I don't want to hurt you but I have to be honest but I don't want to do this if I will lose you. The problem is he's put me in a lose-lose situation. He told me he wouldn't be happy with just one person forever and he likes this but will stop if I ask. I told him that I can't conceive of it and set my boundaries which he has acknowledged but then he mopes around and I ask what's up and he's like, oh I'm just thinking how I am supposed to tell her I can't talk to her anymore. And now I'm made to feel guilty. So I have to either be unhappy with his proposal or know he's unhappy accepting mine. If it was just talking and finding common ground with someone online IDK I guess I could manage but he's used words like he feels it's intimate, which to me feels like emotional cheating and turns my stomach. I don't want to navigate the rules and processes of poly life because I don't know how you can't blur the line between falling in love or keeping a healthy balance. I also don't feel I can manage my jealousy and feelings of inadequacy. Despite him saying he will give it up and drop it if it's not for me I now have this feeling like he's going to resent me, or it's going to be a source of future fights. I feel sick. It's 3 a.m. and even though we talked through it last night, I wake in these moments with these thoughts I can't shake. I'm so confused because I felt disconnected from our relationship for ages because I felt he just doesn't care for my needs and I'd kind of been coping, protecting my feelings from being hurt by coexisting for the sake of the kids, so half of me is confused. IDK. Maybe typing this out is just so I can process. I never imagined an open relationship where there's still feelings connected. It was always a distinct boundary if we coexist, due to cost of living crisis, kids' needs, etc. We do it respectfully without love, living separate lives, so I'm struggling with this feeling that he just wants to use me like a fallback option while he gets his needs met. All this coming to light has triggered a realization that I really do love him and I don't want to share him. I can't help feeling like he didn't want to make the emotional effort with me all these years. I'd been silently screaming for it only to do it with someone else. The thought of other people in our relationship turns my stomach. I don't want any of that nuances and bullshit navigating building someone new with others when we've had years of building a life and memories together and know each other completely. Or, I guess not in my case. I don't even feel I can speak to a therapist because so many are so black and white about everything. I'm so confused and heartbroken. Oh, I'm just thinking how I am supposed to tell her I can't talk to her anymore. Sorry, I need to work on my marriage. I did tell you I was married, didn't I? Simple, right? The fact he's making a big production out of it means this isn't about him wanting to be poly. It's him wanting permission to cheat with this specific person. You're allowed to put your foot down about that. And if he keeps trying to have both of you regardless of how that makes you feel, you should start coming to terms with the fact the marriage is over and proceed accordingly. Speaking as a polyamorous person, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. We do multiple ongoing relationships with the knowledge and consent of everyone involved, and he acted without any discussion whatsoever. Opening a relationship takes at least as much time and planning as remodeling a kitchen, and he's done the equivalent of buying a sink, putting a hammer through the counter, and then starting to talk with you. If I were talking to him, I'd say that he should apologize to you immediately, break things off with the other person as politely as possible, and make no further moves on any kind of ethical non-monogamy until you've both read at least one book and discussed it, and even then progress is conditional on your agreement. What a manipulative boss he's being. You are allowed your boundaries and he said he'd respect them. Well, he isn't. Oh, and he'll 100% still be talking to her behind your back. He's not poly, he just wants permission to cheat. I didn't read all of this because the situation is simple to me. Tell him if he communicates again with this woman, that you want a divorce, or at least a separation. Furthermore, if he is going to mope around like an asshole about it, he can just leave. If he's made his decision he can't be happy in the marriage as it was, he should leave. I know it's not the outcome you want, but being weak about it will get you nowhere. The faster this is over and behind you, either way it goes, the better. But putting up with his crap isn't helping you. This is an unacceptable betrayal, draped in some repulsively manipulative tactics. He's not poly. He just wants to cheat without consequences. Love of my life, 30M, cheated on me, 26F. What do I do? I, 26 female, have been with my now ex-fiancé, 30 male, since I was 20. When I thought of the future, all I could picture was me and him together. My entire life I wanted to have kids and even adopt more. Jack didn't want kids and eventually said he'd be fine with one. I was willing to not have any kids if he didn't want any. I thought he was a sweet guy who would never cheat on me. I was wrong. I found out that he had affairs with multiple women on and off for the last 4 years. To say I was devastated is an understatement. It's been 5 months since and I got back with him. It's been 5 months and it still hurts like the day I found out. Sometimes it feels like I can't breathe and I end up having horrible panic attacks. I know I should hate him, but honestly I just hate myself. It feels like it's somehow my fault and I could have prevented him from cheating on me. I no longer see him as my future husband or father of my kids. Which hurts me the most to even write that down. I feel guilty for having these feelings and I don't know what to do. I thought I just needed time, but I still randomly feel horrible. I know I'm dumb for getting back with him, but I just can't let him go. Does anyone have any advice? If they cheated on you, they're not the love of your life. He doesn't want the same future as you and he cheated on you for the majority of your relationship? Why are you still there? You do not get back with someone that cheats on you for years. This will be a sentence that you chose for yourself. He will never respect you and never love you. He just loves that he can manipulate you. You learn to love yourself and get therapy before he ends up giving you permanent STDs. You will not be able to heal until you break up with him and block him out of your life. You will never be enough for the wrong person. You're still so young. Please leave this man. You'll find one who treats you better. Value yourself. It's not somehow your fault. Sometimes those thoughts come into my head too, but no, it's not your fault and wasn't my fault. If he didn't want to be with you, He should have broken up with you and not betrayed your trust by cheating. They should have just went away, but instead decided to stay and change our belief on love forever. Leave girl. It's been 5 weeks for me and every day hurts, but I know it would have been way worse if I stayed with him. You need to start healing and you can't do that with the guy who broke you in the first place. Go to surviving infidelity. My 25F girlfriend woke me 25M up in the middle of the night to tell me she kissed another guy. Why? We've been dating for 3 years and I love her. Things been bumpy this summer, but like any relationship, things haven't always been picture perfect. A few weeks leading up to this we hadn't been hanging out as much and doing more things on our own. She'd been hanging friends of friends and told me one of them asked her to hang out. I didn't take much of it as she said she OBV wouldn't do anything. Then a day or two later I get a call in the middle of the night saying, I can't sleep, I made a terrible mistake, and she tells me that she went out with him and they kissed. I guess my question is, how would you receive this? Why even tell me this? Why wake me up at 3 a.m. and then tell me this? I totally understand if she wanted to see what else is out there or if she had doubts about our relationship, but to do this and then confess in this fashion almost felt insincere. I get it if this was a mistake, but she voluntarily went out with him. I wouldn't have a problem with a conversation or even if she sat me down after work and told me how she feels. I also appreciate her honestly, but I wish I never knew. Just completely baffled at the overall situation and looking for some advice or alternate perspectives. Haven't talked to her since it's been nearly a month. I know I need to leave her and move on, and this makes it a little easier to start that process, but I'm starting to struggle and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thanks. You haven't talked to her for a month? The relationship has been over since then. You haven't talked in a month? A whole month? Seems like you already broke up. A month? Sounds like no action needed. Wasn't just a kiss anyway is my bet. It is over. She probs did more than that, but she had to tell you something, trickle truth. 'Cause the guilt feeling was eating her up, hence the 3 a.m. surprise so she can sleep like a princess again, feeding her own delulu LMAO. Nothing sincere at that, selfish behavior. Tell her good luck and cut contact, stay strong brev. Don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth again. I don't care if it was just a kiss, that would be a relationship ender for me. The trust moving forward has been changed forever. It's always going to be on your mind. When she is out with friends, you will be spiraling at home wondering what the F is she really up to. I value my peace of mind too much to forgive in these spots. As well, usually it's downplayed a crazy amount. It was just a kiss. Yeah, unlikely it was a single peck on the lips. And it's not just a kiss. It's series of conscious decisions leading up to the event that put her in that position to begin with. No time to spare on cheaters. Anyways, you haven't spoken to each other in a month. That sounds like the relationship was ended but not officially. I would end it and block. Moving on. She wants to grenade the relationship. Down deep, that's why she did it. She could have easily just let this slide into her memory, never revealed it, and been content with you, but she craves the discord and drama that will come about when you react to her betraying you. She's also probably struggling with the lack of attraction for you, and the attraction for someone else, and doesn't know what to do with those feelings, so they've manifested as guilt, but really, down deep. She pulled the pin and rolled it into your brain at 3 a.m. The better question is, do you see any future with this person? If not, maybe take this as the sign you should have paid big attention to. Well, that and the cheating.